All right, so types of goals. Research shows that athletes perform most effectively by using various types of goals and knowing when to use them. So I'm just going to go through the different types. I'm sure you probably are familiar with them by now, but I think it's important to kind of talk them through. So the very first type is your outcome goal. So outcome goals are typically long term. They're the most common, they're the easiest to set, they're really exciting, they're motivational. They're standards that are based on uncontrollable results or outcomes. So for example, winning some championship, winning conference, or getting All-American award. You get the idea. Performance goals, those are shorter term. They can kind of be, there can be many of them in priority order. Some are shorter, some are longer term. But they're specific. I like to kind of look at them as checkpoints, so measurable kind of checkpoints that are needed to hit in order to get to your outcome. Typically when I'm setting performance goals, I like to set between 4 and 5, and I like to set them in priority order so that I'm constantly feel like I'm climbing. So in the book, in the Coaching for Inner Edge, they use the analogy of a staircase, and I love that analogy. I like the analogy of a ladder, just because it's harder to climb than a staircase. And I like it when things are hard. So anyway, okay, so performance goals are shorter term. They're basically standards on performance accomplishments that are self-referenced. So they have to be standards that are referenced to you, not to your teammates, not to what your coach, you hope your coach wants you to do, not to maybe, I used to make the mistake of setting performance goals when I was coming back from an injury that, my healthiest body could achieve. That's the wrong way to do it. You have to be really realistic about your situation. When you're not at 100% strength, speed, weight-wise, any of that stuff, you're not going to be able to hit the same types of measurable, specific performance goals that you would, say, when you're at sort of peak condition, mint condition. So, for example, if you're a runner, you're trying to, run a 5-10 mile, you're going to have to hit splits. You're going to have to, each 200 is going to have to be a certain split. That's a performance goal. Free throw percentage, that's a performance goal. If you're a tennis player, first serve percentage, all of those are examples. And these are evaluated often, and they're reset a lot. So they're kind of revamped and reshaped depending on circumstances. You may get injured. You may have a life circumstance. You may just be in a slump, right? You may just, something's off, and you need to kind of revamp your performance goals just so that you make sure, again, that you're kind of achieving something, your confidence is building. You may be having rapid success, so you may be hitting your performance goals, and that's great. And so you may need to adjust those too. You may need to make them a little bit more challenging or reset your outcome goal based on your rapid success and your performance goals. Process goals. This is kind of, the heartbeat of goal setting. This is the heartbeat of where you're putting in your time. This is where the 10,000 hours are. Whew. The nitty-gritty process. So these are short-term goals. These are typically reminders. They're behaviors that are going to get you refocused. So they can even be triggers that we talked about last week a little bit. But these will keep you focused on the right things in order to achieve that deep or deliberate practice and low anxiety game and match performance, and it will occupy your mind with relevant, good job, relevant thoughts and images that will just sort of keep you, again, focused and engaged on the right things that will lead to better performance. So some examples of process goals. Again, if you're a runner, strong arms around the curves, tight streamlines if you're a swimmer. So when you're pushing off the wall, you gotta have a tight streamline. Or for me as a soccer player, I remember when I was at my best, I was just playing two-touch soccer. And so that was kind of a process goal that I focused on a lot. If I'm taking more than 2 touches with the ball at a time, I'm playing too slow. Also, it could be anything. It could be anything. It could be a strong start off the block. It could be, a certain amount of breaths per stroke, per, 50 when you're swimming. Long distances. So again, by becoming process oriented, your pressure lessens with the general understanding that outcomes are uncontrollable no matter how prepared and skilled and talented you are. So again, keeping in mind that ideal, that outcome far, far, far away in the future it's out there. But you have to hit some certain performance goals in order to eventually get to the outcome. But these behaviors, this process, this focus on progress and process and deep, deliberate practice, this is where the foundation is laid. This is where day in and day out, kind of the hard work happens. And the process goals are what's going to kind of keep you engaged, focus on the right things. I cannot say that enough. I know I've said that like 500 times since I've been recording this recording, but it's so true. Your buy-in to the process, trust the process, trust the process. If you're able to trust the process, you will hit your performance goals and you will eventually get close to, achieving that outcome goal, knowing that some of it's out of your control.